We are people of the first light.
In our language, we call it Wampanoag.
And they are the people who have been here for 12,000 years.
We're considered to be a nation of people. What Wampanoag means is people of the East, people of the first dawn. We're one of the first indigenous people to see the sun come up.
What does being Native mean to me? Wow.
It's a part of my culture, a part of who I am, part of how I live.
It's more of just an understanding of who and what I am and where I come from and the path in which I hold.
So everybody should be proud of what they are themselves, you know?
I'm very proud to be a Native. This is my ancestral land. I have my grandmother's teaching and my culture and my traditions are still here.
Day-to-day life back then for the Wampanoags would depend largely upon the season, what they would be doing.
I can basically tell you in spring and summer, like the women do the planting, women are considered to be the givers of life.
Collecting and foraging for things that grew wild, food edibles, weaving materials, dyes, medicinal plants.
We were a matriarchal matrilineal society, but the elders were the ones that had made the last final decision.
The elders can do whatever they want to do. They got the wisdom, they've been there, done that. The men are considered to be the takers of life, so what the men do during the spring and summer is a lot of the fishing.
For us, it was just sustaining life. And I think that's the cool part about it, because everyone was self-sufficient. So if you want something, you make it yourself.
So you would have had people either working on multiple crafts, either making bows, making the arrows to those bows, flint knapping, making different projectile points, different blades.
In the springtime, it was probably a lot of fish.
We had an ocean. We was on the ocean, so we had plenty of fish. Bluefish is my favorite. Mussels, clams, quahogs in the summertime.
The fall, you had fresh and dried vegetables, along with migratory birds.
You had a lot of berries, strawberries, blueberries.
Walnuts, hazelnuts, chestnuts, hickory nuts.
And then wintertime was big game animal meat.
A raccoon, a skunk maybe, even a rabbit.
You want the fattier red meats that you're gonna eat in the winter, like the deer, the black bear, the moose, the elk.
You probably had a couple set meal times during the day, but we have a main cooking area, which you always have food going over it. So anytime during the day you got hungry, you would go up and grab something to eat.
Native people mostly see it as a time for mourning and a time to reflect on what happened in the past.
What that Thanksgiving was not truly a Thanksgiving for us.
From a historical perspective, there's only like 3 sentences that were written.
Our harvest been gotten in, our governor called for a celebration. He said they sent 4 men a-fowling, and those 4 men brought back enough food or fowl to serve it the company almost a week's time. He said at which point the governor called for them to exercise their arms, to fire off their guns in celebration. And shortly thereafter, Massasoit comes amongst them with some 90 men. Massasoit, early that spring, had signed a treaty with the English.
And what the treaty basically stated in so many words was, if you go to battle, I'm gonna help you out, and if I go to battle, you help me out. Aside from that, we'll keep separate lives.
What most historians believe happened is Massasoit heard that there was a tremendous amount of gunfire coming from in and around the English village. And so as a part of the treaty, he brought those 90 men out to come help defend, or what he thought was to defend, the English.
So when that treaty was made in March of 1621, which led up to the Harvest Festival being a political dinner. Now, people celebrate, I think it was the 4th Thursday of the month in November. That Harvest Fest, we really don't know the exact date. We know it probably happened late September, early October, sometime during that time. We know the colonists had a big feast that year. We know Squanto taught them how to plant corn that prior spring. Some of the sources say there weren't even turkey there. They don't mention turkey. They mention fowl, and fowl could have been any type of bird. Could have been duck, could have been turkey, could have been goose. But we know the main staple of that diet was deer meat itself, venison.
Thanksgiving for us was every day. Anything that you did Whether you fished, whether you hunted, whether you cut down a tree, you always gave thanks for what the Creator has given us.
We really don't celebrate it. It's more or less, we recognize the ones we lost in the past over the centuries. So that day, actually I'm here at the museum, and most of the Native staff who work here are here at the museum. And so we educate the public about that day. People want to know about the truth. They don't want to hear about things that be sugar-coated, as they say. They want to hear the true facts.
They say it's mandatory to teach about Wampanoag people in the 2nd or 3rd grade. You can't teach things like the war and what happened later to kids that age. We have to go back in schools at an older age to be able to teach another side of history that is more, heart-wrenching that it happened.
By coming to places like museums and learning as much as you possibly could, asking a lot of questions, I think that's the best way that you can learn better about it. We kind of specialize on Thanksgiving here at Plimoth Plantation, so this is a fantastic place to come to.
The Plimoth Plantation does a lot of great education for the public when they come in, but also I think a big thing that should change a lot is just the history books in school.
It's like a kind of, okay, it happened, yes, it's important if you really want to know everything about what happened early on between the Pilgrims and the Native people.
If they update the books, if we get better funding for these schools, they'll be able to educate people about American history in general.
On seeing what's happened in the past and respecting that, respecting the truth and honoring the truth.
So telling the truth always is your best policy.
We have a powerful thing each interpreter does. They have the opportunity to change a person's way of thought, which is really cool, because a lot of people come in with their own ways of thinking, maybe about a certain holiday or a certain way of doing things.
So anytime that you can get the history from the particular people or the particular group, I think that's one of the best ways to learn about culture or history, anybody's culture, anybody's history. Go to the people that you're studying about or that you want to know about.